Patreon, love you guys. Again, I thank you very much for being here. I really do appreciate you guys. Let's talk about home defense. The direction I want to go with that is for you guys to start looking around your homes, whether it be an apartment, whether it be a suburban home, an urban home, a rural home, and start just look around with a eye for defense and security and take a look at what areas you can improve in. Look around, are your window locks functional? Can you put window bars in? Do your windows open up and down or side to side? Do you have bars on the outside? Bars on the outside are, they're not, I get the function, but they're not the best for if there's a fire inside and you got to get out for escape routes. So I don't really like that. There are other things you can do though. One thing you can do with a window bar, pretty simple. Get a length of, PVC pipe, about that big around, and then they have those, the rubberized ends that go on shower curtains. So what you do is you cut the PVC pipe to what you think is about the right size, and then you measure, cut the pipe, slip on those ends, and then the extra rubber thickness will allow you to kind of like press fit it in. Like my windows open side to side like this. So I have a window where there's a glass pane in the middle that doesn't open, and then windows that open side to side. For one example, one window I'm thinking about. And they have locks, but then what I do is I put the bar in between the two so that nobody can open them. And you think PVC isn't that strong, but think about the leverage somebody would have on a window pane trying to move it. Even if they had suction cups, they're not going to be able to provide enough leverage to open that with a bar in place. Can they break the window? Sure, of course. That's always a factor, just like your vehicle. Somebody can always break into your vehicle by breaking a window. All right, that's something we can't do anything about, really. But things like that. There's also things that you can do for doors. There's those things that put up against the door handles and the wedges. What I really like doing is I like reinforcing the door frame, because it's not the door itself really that is the weak spot. It's the door frame. When somebody kicks in a door, they're busting that latch out of the door frame area. So what I like doing is those little plates that your lock goes into and pops inside and locks inside, whether it be a deadbolt or your regular latch. What I like doing is pulling those screws out, the screws that are about that long. And I like putting in really long screws, heavy duty screws, that big enough that'll fit in the hole, but still be stronger. And what that does is those go through a lot more of the 2x4 structure that creates the door frame. So that really strengthens your door. And on the lock mechanism on the door, depending on the door, if it's a hollow frame, you may not be able to do that, but I like doing things like that. Also, look around if you have a yard, like I have property, you guys have seen it. And the raised beds are fixed fighting positions, kind of. Are they the best? Of course not. Are they tall enough? Are they set up where I have a loophole to shoot through? No, they're not. But there are things you can do, like putting raised beds in your front yard that could provide you a fighting position if you need to. Now, are we going to need fighting positions in our front yard? God, I hope not, because if I'm fighting from my front yard, I've already lost. But go around and look at things. I've also talked in the past about getting security equipment and or stuff set aside now for if things really fall apart. Because it's not appropriate right now for me, even in a rural setting, to have a big, huge, 10-foot, 12-foot chain link fence with razor wire across the top running the length of my property. And even in SHTF, it may not be appropriate also, because that may put a target on your property. Somebody's like, ooh, there's something worth defending in there, so maybe that would draw more attention. It's one of those things. But if you have some fencing materials, you may not have like all the stuff to build a 12-foot chain link fence. I get it. But if you have rolls of razor wire and barbed wire set aside, then you can effectively put up a defensive situation. You could just get some of those chain link fence posts and some of the heavy duty wire that attaches chain link fences, you know, some of that really heavy gauge like baling wire. And then what you could do is put the post in the ground, put the post in the ground, run baling wire through the razor wire, and you could build a razor wire wall out of just posts, razor wire, and baling wire. Now, is somebody gonna be able to get through that? Yes, because think about all these security features, fences mainly. People talk about hanging fish hooks from the trees and the bushes. Anything, with the exception of blackberries that are, you know, 30 feet deep, that is a denial feature. But what I'm getting at is that fences and all that kind of stuff, there's just delay features. Somebody's gonna be able to get through them if they have enough time to cut through them, climb over them, dig under them, stuff like that. Without eyes on, somebody sitting there and physically watching, and or cameras and somebody watching the cameras, it's not gonna be effective. Because if you're not watching that fence line, somebody is cutting through it, and then they get through it and they're on you, thus negating the feature of the fence. Because it's not delaying them if you're not watching. If you're watching it and you're seeing, oh, somebody's cut through my fence, grab your gun, okay, you know, respond. Or your buddies respond or something like that. That's effective. But if you don't have the ability to watch that perimeter, it's probably not gonna do much for you. Now, if you lay out a razor wire field all around your house, I'm not saying don't do it, even if you don't have the ability to watch it, because just the fact that it's there may detract from people trying to get in. But look around, look at your doors, look at your windows, look at your escape routes. Identify any weak points in your house. There also is, for the windows, if you're concerned about, you know, rounds coming through your windows, that 3M makes that ballistic window film. You can buy it on Amazon. Is it that effective against bullets? I don't know, I haven't tested it myself. It does look pretty interesting though. I thought about getting some of that and doing the inside of my vehicle's windows. And maybe like an outside layer, I don't know. I think if it's a dual layer, if you took some of that, the thickest you can possibly get, it's more expensive, but if you put a thick layer of that on the outside of your window and then the thickest layer on the inside of your window, that might actually provide protection. Now, a lot of homes nowadays, our home has dual pane windows. So if you have a thick layer on the outside and a thick layer on the inside, and you got those double panes and you got the dead air space in between, oh yeah, it's only that much. It's not gonna slow down a round, but things like that may be effective. But generally, look at the condition of your home. Your screens on the outside, have they been tampered with? Are they in good functional order? If it has been kind of bent or something like that, that's an identifiable point for somebody to look at and go, hey, I can, you know, mess with that even more. So make sure things like that are squared away. Also look at areas around your home that you may be able to defend from inside your home. I do it all the time, and my wife laughs at me. She calls me her G.I. Joe doll, because I dress up in full kit and I go around and I practice room clearing. That's one of those things. You are familiar with the inside of your home, so you should be cutting those corners, taking those corners, figuring out the angles, high, low, different things to do to defend your home if need be. Also, what you can do is move furniture in front of doorways, in front of windows, so that even if somebody does get through there, it inhibits their ability to enter quickly. It slows them down. Think about things like, hey, if somebody's gonna be kicking in the door and throwing in a flashbang, okay, where are they throwing that? Are they gonna toss it off to the sides? Put objects on the sides of your doors so it would bounce back. I'm not saying that's perfect, but anyway, please take a look just at your home and see if there are any areas that you can improve upon your security. Home security is important, and it doesn't have to be end of the world SHTF. It could just be the fact that crime is increasing. There are more home invasions nowadays. There are more robberies. Maybe you think about an alarm system, motion activated lights, motion detectors with audible alarms. There's a lot of things you can do. I really like, there's this one company, I need to get some. They contacted me a long time ago about sending me some and working with them, but I don't think I followed through, or I forget what happened. But they are solar powered motion or driveway sensors that basically send out a beam, and when someone breaks it, it sends off an alarm inside the home on a like centralized station. But what's really cool about them is they didn't use Wi-Fi, because Wi-Fi, all they got to do is cut your phone lines or your internet lines, turn the power off to your house, and you lose that. What was cool about them is they sent it via a ham radio signal, so it's a lot more effective. There are a lot of things like that. Also, making your presence known, walking around if you have property, etc. It's hard to really tailor this because, like I said, I live on rural property, but you may live in an apartment. So it's difficult to talk about specifics. But take a look at your surroundings and see where you can improve on your security. I love you guys. Have a wonderful day, and blessings to you and yours.